Kind of sucks because I feel like if I would have never called Michael here last night, Brandon would still be alive and I wouldn't have this problem.
That's a 17-year-old Albuquerque UNM student who, while charged in this case, Action 7 News is not identifying because of her age. According to police documents and this newly released police interview, she played a key role in luring NMSU basketball player Mike Peak to the UNM campus. During the police interview, she told police she first saw Peak in October at the UNM and NMSU rivalry football game in Las Cruces.
So ever since then, we've been talking back and forth, and we just, like, when he got down here, he said, of course, he wanted to have sex. So that's what we were going to do.
She says her friend Brandon Travis pressured her into setting up Peak as retaliation for a fight that occurred weeks earlier at the UNM NMSU football game. The night she lured Peak onto campus, she at first said she didn't know who jumped Peak.
So you know who were these dudes that pulled up on you?
No, I don't.
You don't?
I don't think I do.
I'm pretty sure you do know who these people are.
I don't think I do.
That's when officers tell her they know she's lying. Then she starts her story all over again.
All I seen was Brandon walk up to him with the gun pointed in his face, and Michael did this. That's the last thing I seen when I ran.
Okay.
Before I ran. Because I seen the gun. I didn't know that there was a gun involved.
Okay.
That's why I ran.
In the police interview, the teen says things were not supposed to escalate.
I thought they were jumping him because, like I said, I heard the noise. So that's why I had, like, stayed there for a second. I didn't know they were gunshots.
She then tells investigators how she feels guilty.
He was nice. I felt so bad. And then now that my friend Brandon's dead, I feel like I'm kind of the reason that he's dead.
No, I don't know how to frame this except to say that's a cautionary tale. It's a cautionary tale for young men out there, okay? From all walks of life, all right? Now, it just leaves me, well, not really perplexed, but just shaking my damn head because, some things never change. More things change, the more they stay the same. Sometimes we take 2 steps forward, 10 steps back. And, right now, I want to talk about this incident. And I want to frame it as a tale of two idiots. All right? And I want to say it's true. It's a fucking tragedy. It's a tragedy, man. Black men, we have to keep our head on a swivel at all times. I know you've heard me say that phrase several times and shit, millions of times, thousands of times. I don't know how many times, but I say it a lot because I want it to get in your head, okay? And, when I was in the military, we learned things through repetition, okay? All right, we learned things through repetition. For instance, when we were learning how to assemble and disassemble a M16A1, they gave us, they herded us into a classroom. They had a drawing, and you had to disassemble the gun and put the pieces on the corresponding picture, and then reassemble them and shit when they blew a whistle and whatnot. And every time somebody fucked up and didn't do the right thing, they made us go outside, and they did breakdown PT to us. And then at the end of it, they had us pour our canteens onto our heads, right? And then we would resume the training until somebody else fucked up. Yeah, they don't do that anymore, I'm told, by some younger dudes. They say that's hazing now. That's criminal hazing. Well, whatever. It's pretty goddamn effective. I'm in my fucking 50s. I can assemble and disassemble an M16A1 in moments. All right? Like, as a matter of fact, I can disassemble a gun in moments and shit just on muscle memory alone. Like a hand pistol. I can, make it inoperable if I want. Now, I'm not going to get into that, okay? I want to tell to the young kings out there, okay? You guys have to stay in your purpose and shit. I know it sounds corny when you're young, you're full of testosterone and shit, and you want to do what you want to do, but you really have to worry about your life, okay? You have to protect yourself, and you have to protect your seed, okay? These things run hand in hand. When I was a kid, like older dudes that actually talked to their sons and their young charges of people they cared about, other guys they gave a shit about, they framed it a different way. They said, don't get distracted. All right? I'm going to tell you, don't get distracted and shit. I'm going to say, I'm going to be more in depth about it and shit because I don't think the dudes in my time period were doing an adequate job of preparing their children for the world. Okay? And a lot of guys, we lost a lot of people. Okay? We lost a lot of motherfucking people. You know, all those all those abortions that they say black women had and shit would have been null and void if motherfuckers talked to their sons, guys that had access to their kids. Let's put it that way. We're not gonna play the blame black man trope on my fucking channel. We're not gonna do that, okay? I want to talk about this situation, all right? I'm 4 minutes in. All right. This is a tale of two idiots, okay? One idiot number one's name is Mike Peake. All right? And, no disrespect to the second individual's parents because the gentleman is no longer here, but the second idiot's name is Brandon Travis, okay? Now, these two guys were rivals, okay? Although Mike Peake didn't really know he was a rival with Brandon Travis until Brandon Travis tried to pull his player card and shit, okay? All right? These two met at a football game, got into a fight, and Mike Peake cleaned up Brandon Travis according to reports and shit. Beat his ass up, triumphed, trounced his ass, okay? And Brandon couldn't deal with that shit, so Brandon allegedly, now, I don't know what the guy did. He's not here to speak on it or defend himself, okay? But Brandon Travis allegedly set up an ambush for Mike Peake by using the Facebook account of a female acquaintance who was in college, a college mate of his, who was 17. So I don't know. I thought, college, well, I don't know. I don't know how, I thought she'd still be in high school at 17, but she's apparently a college student. She's 17 years old. And he supposedly used her Facebook account. And then later on it was discovered she had several conversations with Mike Peake and shit. And he didn't know that he was talking to a catfish for Brandon Travis. A female catfish. She was in the service of Brandon Travis, allegedly. Right? I don't doubt it. Maybe, yeah, I'll just say allegedly. All right. Mike Peake's team. Mike Peake is a star basketball player. All right, and his school doesn't matter. Brandon Travis' fucking school don't matter. What matters is what happened and shit. Mike Peake, his team was coming to their town, which wasn't very far away, a couple hours away. Mike Peake's basketball team was coming to play the basketball team at the other guy's school. And Mike had been talking to this female on Facebook and on the phone, and they agreed that when he got there, he would hook up with her and they would have sex. All right? He would hook up with her and they would have sex and shit. I don't put things in perspective. I think Brandon Travis was either 19 or 20. The girl's 17. I think Mike is like 20 or 21 and shit. He's going to bone this girl. All right? All right? She's in college. So I don't know about the legality of wherever the fuck they were. Nobody's getting out of this shit smelling like a rose. Okay? Mike was an idiot. All right? Brandon was a fucking idiot who lost his life when he rolled the dice and shit to placate his own ego and shit. His masculinity and shit, I should say. All right? So Mike's team travels to the town where he is where they're going to play the game, and Mike's going to get some. So he's going to bang the shit out of his girl, who's probably been sending them pictures and stuff. And there's footage there, okay? So Mike doesn't know he's walking into a honey trap, right? And, just for the uninitiated, a honey trap is when someone uses a female to coerce a male into doing something, okay? Mike goes there. They check into the hotel. Mike sneaks out of the hotel, right? Gets, an Uber to the location to meet the girl. And I'm looking at the footage, and it looks like the back of a building or something. I'm like, why would you take an Uber to the back of the fucking building? To some chick you don't know. All right, why you meet her in a public fucking place with a friend, and you tell your friend to sit at another table and check her out and shit, That's what you do. You know, back in the day, it's dangerous. Today, it's problematic. Dating and everything. I feel bad for you young people. But Mike goes there in an Uber, meets the girl, and they're walking along what looks like the back of a building to go into the dorm and do the deed. When Brandon Travis appears with, I think, two friends, and one of the guys is brandishing a baseball bat. The guy with the baseball bat runs and hits Mike in the back with the shit. All right? And Mike getting hit in the back, and to put this in perspective, Mike Peak is from Chicago. All right? I don't know. He seems like either a South or West Side Negro, but he's from Chicago, okay? And I want to tell you something about living here in the Chi, in the slave quarters over here. Chicago is the home of the sucker punch. Okay? The sucker punch is an art form over here. Okay? The sucker punch, the smash and grab, is a fucking art form in this goddamn city. So a lot of brothers that grew up here, when someone strikes us from behind, which is rare because a lot of guys here know to keep their head on the swivel. When someone strikes us from behind, we usually go forward. You go forward about a couple of feet and pivot. Mike ran forward a couple of feet and pivot. While in the motion of running forward and pivoting, the Brandon Travis brandishes a weapon. A weapon. He has a gun on him. All right? Brandon Travis has a fucking gun on him. Unknown to him, Mike has a gun because Mike is a Chicago nigga. And Brandon is from Los Angeles, particularly, I'm told, Compton. All right, Compton is shit. It's no big deal. All right, Compton is mostly Latin these days. But Mike runs forward, pivots, as Brandon pulls out a gun, likely intending to shoot him in the back and kill his ass. But what he didn't count on was that Mike had a weapon too. And Brandon's first shot caught Mike in the leg. But Mike's returning fire Brandon catches two to the torso and one in the scrotum. All right, everyone else runs away. The girl runs away. The two goofs run away. Unfortunately, he didn't get the asshole to hit him with the bat. All right, Mike is left in the parking lot with a dying Brandon. And Mike, being a Chicago nigga and all, understanding police and how they see us, Mike hobbles his ass, retrieves his weapon that he had dropped while firing in midair, and his phone, calls up some buddies from the hotel, some of his teammates. They come and get him and take his ass to the hospital while Brandon Travis is left there bleeding out and attended to by a guy that just happened by who had heard something and went and looked. And Brandon Travis did not make it. He died. All right, he died. He set up the fucking ambush. He got this girl. He went through this elaborate plan to get revenge for the ass whooping he had received at that fucking football game. And he lost his goddamn life. Now, I want to tell you, Mike Peak was a star basketball player. He's currently recuperating from his injuries. We don't know if he'll be able to play again. He's been kicked off the team or placed on indefinite suspension. That's the shit they like to say today. Brandon Travis was an academic. He was a former football player. But they didn't say that he was a football player to school. They said he was there on an academic scholarship and that he was a man of distinction. Brandon Travis, the man with brandishing the gun first. Brandon Travis even had like a black male group or something. He had some kind of pro-black group. I forgot the name of it. With some kind of fucking acronym. We never get tired of acronyms down here in the slave quarters and shit. But you can make all the acronyms you want, but you can't get shit done. And now this nigga's dead. And I had to make this fucking video and shit. And I already said an apology to his family, but he was the villain of this shit. He was the idiotic villain. He was the brainless moron on an academic scholarship that had grown up in Compton and shit of all places. And somehow he's got a weapon on him He's got a gun on him. He's going to shoot a motherfucker. He's going to kill him. There ain't no doubt about it. You don't bring a gun to no kind of street situation unless you intend on killing a motherfucker. And Mike being a Chicago nigga, he had his weapon on him too and shit. Because he's a Chicago nigga. And now, like, every collateral damage everywhere. All right? The two gentlemen that were flanking Brandon Travis have been caught and incarcerated. They're going to probably be kicked out of college and shit, rightfully so, for being criminals and shit, and in concert with a man that looked like he was attempting to commit a homicide. All right? Mike's career is probably over. I don't know what the fuck he's going to do. I hope that he plays again. Maybe he can play in the European League, but he is not in the wrong for defending himself. You know, he shouldn't have had a weapon, but he was defending himself. He had every right to do that. He was going to be in a body bag. What the fuck are you going to do in that situation? And the 17-year-old female is being protected because she's underage technically. They will not reveal her identity, but she has been charged with conspiracy and some other shit. Okay? And Brandon Travis's parents are trying to sue the police department at the game where he initially got his ass kicked, saying that they should have intervened, and none of this would have happened. Okay? That's some incredible, retarded mental gymnastics. But we'll see how that goes, okay? And we'll see if Benjamin Crump pops up. All right? So everybody's a goofy. All right? And Mike is one of the biggest goofies of all and a fucking idiot. The 20-year-old, 20-something idiot with his whole future in front of him and shit. This guy had transferred schools and shit. Okay? For his career. He was a star player. It's like busted off 22 points and shit. I don't know what his stats actually was. I think it was 20-something. You know, he was up there, him and this other guy on the team. They were the stars. That team is falling now. That team is on losing streak since he was injured. You know, as far as I know. Don't quote me on that. Brandon Travis is no longer here. He's dead because of his own hubris and his feminized behavior. Okay? I don't know what the deal was with his family dynamic. And that female, you know, she's going to skirt on by shit. She was talking, you know, I played the footage of her being interviewed by the police, and she lied, which to be expected and everything. But then she admitted, like, all this bullshit, you know. And I wouldn't be surprised if Mike P catches a case because she's 17, and we don't know what the age of consent is in that state. I think it's like New Mexico or something. But I want to tell you young guys, all right, I'm done really talking about this. I want to tell you young guys, man, you got to watch out for honey traps, okay? You gotta watch out for honey traps. You know, a lot of things, like women represent a distraction in your lives when you're young and shit, okay? When you're young. They usually show up when you're at your most promising, okay? I'm not saying this woman, this young person, I call her woman. I'm not saying that she, you know, had any malevolent intent other than getting Mike fucked up. You know, that's proxy violence. But she wasn't involved in the initial, as far as we know, she wasn't involved in the initial fist fight between the two gentlemen. But she was a component to the downfall of many guys. All right? Brandon Travis, a fucking idiot. If she had any kind of decent upbringing, she would have reported Brandon Travis' ass for you trying to use her to set up Mike Pete. She didn't give a shit about Mike. She was going to watch Mike get his ass whooped and then probably leave with those niggas and probably fuck Brandon Travis and shit, okay? All right, this is why you got to keep your head on the swivel. Every time I see a downfall in sports, you know, you can talk about, let's go back to Ume Udek, the guy from Boston and shit. Ume Udoka. How he went down fucking a married white woman and shit. He went down fucking her, man. You know, and a shitload of, you know, Ray Rice and, you know, a bunch of other niggas, you know. Even in boxing recently, we saw the one guy, he was in trouble for domestic situation. It turned out the woman was doing a lot of shady shit. That same Instagram model had even taken the man's toothbrush and stuffed it way up her ass and then put it back in the rack. And the guy he found out she had done this and posted it on Instagram. You know, you gotta keep your head on the swivel with these females. Okay? Don't be meeting them. If you never seen her before or nothing, you know, you FaceTime her and you tell her meet you in a public area and shit, and you have some friends there, okay? You have some friends there. And a lot of times it's a catfish situation. But this time it was deadly. It was deadly, kind of proxy violence. She's not going to face any consequences. She's going to go on with her fucking life and shit. And these guys, there's a dead guy. There's a guy whose career's probably over and shit. And there's two motherfuckers going up the river. Okay? They're going to be in the system now. They're in the fucking matrix. All because of this bullshit. And she was the key. She was the key to the bullshit. All right? Now, you know, I'm not trying to tell anybody how to live their lives, but I just want you to be safe out there. Okay? Be safe, okay? Stay on your purpose. Okay? Remember who you are. Okay? No pussy ain't worth that. Okay? No pussy is not worth none of this bullshit that happened. That's why I tell Mike Peake. I say, how you feel now? You wanted some ass, man. Okay? The girl, the 17-year-old girl, she was, what they call it? Thick. Thicc. She was hella thick. Okay? And she's, you know, when you hear her voice, you know it's a kid. And I was like, well, what the fuck, Mike? What the fuck? You know, you're a basketball player, star basketball player. You did not need to go fuck around with this female. I don't care how big her fucking ass is. You never stop keeping your head on the swivel and shit. And the fact that he had a weapon on him proves that he's still at some level, you know, had that mindset. But, you know, made a fatal mistake and shit. He went by himself to meet her and shit. He should have took some friends with him. You know, well, I'm kind of glad he did, and more lives would be ruined. And the female's still going to go on about her business. And who knows what her fate will be. She doesn't seem to be like a big thinker, from what I can see. Pretty fucked up, right? Every 2 steps you take 10 backward.